Hello and welcome to a brief introduction to Libraries of Sanctuary. My name's Jude and I work for Kirklees Libraries. I'm going to start this presentation with a short film clip of a poem by Carol Ann Duffy. While you're watching the film, we'd like you to think about how it makes you feel.
Imagine living in a strange, dark city for 20 years. There are some dismal dwellings on the east side, and one of them is yours. On the landing, you hear your foreign accent echo down the stairs. You think in a language of your own and talk in theirs.
Now, I don't know about you, but it reminded me of travelling abroad and being somewhere that sounds and looks and smells very different to where we usually live. And if I have language barriers as well, it can feel really hard when you're there. Now, just imagine all of that. Plus, you've had to flee the country that you normally live in because it's no longer safe for you to be there. And you can't return to that country. Maybe all that you've got with you are the clothes that you stood up in. And you have to ask for protection from the government of the country that you find yourself in. Within all that turbulence, disruption, displacement and fear, libraries, along with other organisations, can provide a place of safety and welcome. A place of sanctuary for people who are seeking sanctuary and other people who are newly arrived into the country. We can be what we can call a library of sanctuary. A library of sanctuary is underpinned by three principles. The first one is learn. Learning what it means to be seeking sanctuary. Learning what it means to be seeking sanctuary both in general, but particularly around mental well-being, and in context of needing information and support. It is learning what challenges and experience sanctuary seekers face when living in the UK. And we need to learn about the different reasons that people seek sanctuary. It may be that the country that they have fled from is in war, or it may be that in addition they've got persecution due to beliefs, gender, sexuality, political affiliation, to name just a few. And it's likely that they will have been subject to violence in one way or another. We need to be mindful of the possible threats that still remain for sanctuary seekers in the UK and other migrants, especially from people who are hostile towards sanctuary seekers and migrants. And we need to be aware of reporting points to be able to report hate incidents and hate crimes. And I'm sure you're aware, but libraries are reporting points for these incidents or crimes. Now, there is a really good short film on Kirklees Together for Hate Crime Awareness Week, and it explains really clearly the difference between hate incidents and hate crimes, and it's really important for all of those. So what I did was I just Googled hate crimes, Kirklees Together 2020, and it took me straight there. So it's worth a look, definitely. So a library of sanctuary means all staff get encouragement and time to explore key reasons and key publications and resources around what it means to be seeking sanctuary and be newly arrived in the UK. We'll be sending some links. By learning, we can create a culture of welcome and understanding. And whether we're supporting people with IT, or whether we're supporting people to be signposted to other specialist organisations, by creating a culture of understanding and welcome, and this helps people access those different services. Now, people might want to use IT and have IT support because they want to link with people maybe back in the country that they had to leave, or maybe they want to keep up to date with news of the country that they've left, because things obviously can be changing all the time. So we can support our customers to gain access to all sorts of different information via IT. And also, if we're aware and we've learned about the different organisations that offer specialist support to people who are seeking sanctuary, such as Kirklees Migration Team, Kirklees Welcome, and DASH, which stands for Destitute Asylum Seekers Huddersfield, means that we can signpost our customers on to get more specialist help from organisations who work with this client group all the time. A couple of examples of how we are creating a culture of inclusivity and welcome is, one example is a recent Library Adventures Live that we did. Now, Library Adventures Live, all our recordings are available on Kirklees Library's YouTube. They're really worth checking out. But one I did recently was welcoming a Syrian author called Nadine Kadan, and she read from her picture book called Tomorrow, very suitable for 6+. She read from her picture book Tomorrow, and she read it in both Arabic and English, which was such a great experience. It was so lovely to hear both languages, and she really enjoyed being asked, or she was very pleased to be asked to speak in Arabic, her first language. So Nadine Kadan can speak in many languages, and she read her picture book in both Arabic and English. This meant that we could send it out to the migration team and DASH and other organisations who are likely to speak to people whose first language is Arabic, including some of the schools that we work with in Kirklees. And that meant that it was a bit of a targeted invitation to watch it, particularly if you've got children within the school whose first language is Arabic. I also learned how to say hello in Arabic to Nadine. So when I introduced her and could welcome her to Library Adventures Live, it meant that I attempted very hard to speak Arabic, and Nadine felt that was a really good way to show children who are trying to learn English that you don't need to be perfect to talk in a different language. Another example of ways that we are creating an inclusive and welcoming culture in Kirklees Libraries is that our partners at the migration team are using Huddersfield Library as a safe space to meet with their clients in supporting them to start a new life. And Kirklees Libraries will join them and welcome them to Kirklees Library Service. And we also believe very much at Kirklees Libraries that sharing stories is a great way for humans to connect. We have a sanctuary book collection, which we can update all the time, and we can promote to everyone in the community. Now, I know that David will be talking about that a little bit more in this presentation. We can also build relationships with partners, such as Meet, Try and Learn, such as the migration team, who I know go to many libraries in Kirklees and do an event called Meet, Try and Learn. And that's a great time for us to go up and introduce ourselves and chat to the migration team who organise these events and anybody who might be attending them. It's a great way for conversations to start, and I know that people who go to Meet, Try and Learn are so happy to share their experiences and raise awareness about what their situations are and have been. And before lockdown, we visited DASH, which again is Destitute Asylum Seekers Huddersfield, and we had a chat about the best way to welcome people to the libraries. And we spoke to both staff and people who use DASH. And because we had a chat with them and found out more about what the best way to welcome people to libraries and to be able to put on a welcome event for people, it meant that we adapted our welcome event to meet the needs of people who we wanted to come down to join the library. And also, one of the other things that we can all do is attend training like this, like on the MyPod Extra, but also I know Migration Yorkshire offer quite a lot of training, and that can be refugees and asylum seekers mental health training, or it might be a generic introduction to what it means to be a migrant. And it's always worth going on there. You always learn something different. And the other thing we'd really like you to do is get involved. Get involved by sharing ideas, suggestions, or thoughts with managers, colleagues, Libraries of Sanctuary team. That would be awesome. So that's my bit over with, and I'd like to hand over to David now. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jude. Okay, Angela, could you just pop up the first slide, which I think should say embed? Brilliant. Thanks. That's great. So, so the embed is the second kind of process that we need to do to become a library of sanctuary. It's basically to embed is to make sure that all of our services, we deliver them in a way that helps sanctuary seekers feel welcome, safe and included with us. So to make this happen, we need to take positive action. So there are two real things. One important action that we can take is to collect and to display sanctuary books. And these are books that share the experiences and the cultures of refugees, and we can share them online and in our libraries. Two main things that they can do. They can help sanctuary seekers who would be refugees, asylum seekers, migrants, help them themselves to feel included and valued, but they also can help other people better to understand what sanctuary seekers go through, but also, as we talked about just towards the end of Vicky's presentation, how they can enrich our communities. So why representation matters? Well, Book Trust explain that books play an important role as mirrors to children. These stories and characters, they'll affect how they see themselves and also how they see the world around them. So seeing ourselves represented in books is vital. But that's not just for children. Obviously, it's for adults as well who may feel like outsiders, even within the communities in which they live. And we've already sort of heard about how sort of communities settling in can be a real challenge for them. So what are sanctuary books? Well, I think they're books that share one or both of two kind of features. And the first feature is the experience of being a refugee or being an outsider. So young children might read about animals moving into a village. Older children, teens might follow the journey of exile, possibly seen through a child's eyes. Adults might discover the real life kind of traumas and challenges of seeking sanctuary, and also for fighting for human rights. So sanctuary books can also feature the true or fictional accounts of the home cultures of people who have sought sanctuary, become refugees or become asylum seekers. Novels and poetry might actually be examples of these cultures. But arts, crafts, cuisine, as we've mentioned, so important, they can be shared in non-fiction books. So now that we're able to start opening our libraries to customers again, following our restrictions for COVID, we'll be able to display one collection of sanctuary books for children and then one for adults in each of our libraries. And we can certainly also sort of carry on displaying ebooks online with Overdrive, and there's the link there on the screen. In our smallest branches, each display might be just a single shelf of books, but the same kind of designs and stuff on the shelves and spines of books, well, they shall help readers to find them and also help us as staff to be able to find them as well. So we've already found, how do we sort of share them? We found hundreds of print copies already of children's sanctuary books. We'll be able to do the same, hopefully, the very near future for our adult books and our ebooks. We've already got a sanctuary collection for ebooks, which has been online for a while. Now, the print copies will be able to distribute these, so every library's got a usable collection. We should be able to put a new sanctuary category on our Symphony system, and that means that we can catalogue sanctuary books, we can find them easily, and we can relocate them. So dedicated refugee organisations such as Migration Yorkshire and sources online, they'll help us to find books that are already in our stock, and it's amazing and really sort of pleasantly surprising how many of these books that have been on there that I've been able to find already, and to get new ones. And all of these things will help us to welcome and include and to value sanctuary seekers with whom we share our communities. Thanks very much. And now I want to hand over to Angela.
Thanks, David. So the third principle underpinning our Libraries of Sanctuary work is share, in which we share our vision and achievement, working collaboratively with other services, organisations and sanctuary seekers themselves. So Kirklees Libraries are actively involved in raising awareness and educating others in the Libraries Network about our work with those seeking sanctuary, and we participate in national initiatives such as Refugee Week. This year, Refugee Week invited us to do simple acts, everyday actions we can all do to stand with refugees and make new connections in our communities. One of Kirklees Library's simple acts was a dual language video of some Kurdish poetry. Sirwan from Kurdistan in northern Iraq wanted to share these words from a well-known poet in his culture.
First poem I'm going to read in Kurdish for you. Labin komei kholameshta to jilamoy kashi fulyai legejani tariki da to truskei baflichai labiyabanda hajay chamu lanahata halminanu la gurbata daldo panai klidari bahashti to nakni way hamui jihai.
So you can see the whole video on our YouTube channel. Kirklees Libraries also help refugees and asylum seekers to access digital learning and literacy materials to develop their social integration and build stronger and more resilient communities. We've partnered with the This Way for English project in their online Zoom sessions to promote our digital offer. We were able to welcome sanctuary seekers to join the library online, which of course is free, and we've now removed the barrier of having to provide ID to join. We shared specific language ebooks and e-audiobooks in our collection to support sanctuary seekers in their English language learning. Participants said how useful the ebooks for learning English would be. We've also helped with access to our free Press Reader app, which hosts hundreds of magazines and newspapers, many of which are in community languages. We also shared the free resource Go Citizen website, which contains up-to-date Home Office material for learning and practicing for life in the UK and citizenship tests. One participant said, "Thank you for showing us these things. We didn't know we could get them here." We're currently making a promotional video of Kirklees Library's digital offer, and we would like to share this video with other partners who work with sanctuary seeker groups. So we wanted to show you just a glimpse of what we're doing to make our libraries places of welcome for people seeking sanctuary in the UK. And you can take a look on our website, www.kirkleeslibraries.co.uk, for all these resources and to see what else we're doing. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Honestly, the work that happens in Kirklees is incredible. So, yeah.
Got an interest and a hobby, and they can put it into the work. I think it's good.
I just think that's incredible.